Let's talk about insulation. We thought it best to go back to the basics. You have two main types of insulations to choose from, synthetics and down. Let's start with synthetics. Synthetics are going to be really valuable in wet environments, meaning that they have a high warmth when wet ratio. Because it's man-made, mostly out of polyester, they're extruded and the fibers are non-porous. So think of like a wool fiber, very porous. When it gets wet, it saturates, it gets really wet. Synthetics do not do that. They are basically waterproof. And because of which, they don't hold the moisture when wet. They do hold heat when wet. They still maintain their loft and they trap warmth. They also dry faster than other insulations on the market. Another benefit to synthetic is going to be the cost. So you're gonna find synthetics to be more affordable. Some of the negatives to synthetics, it's man-made, it's just not as good as down in regards to compressibility. You're gonna be able to compress down garments much smaller in comparison to synthetics. Synthetics don't have that thermal, we'll call it thermal retention over time, meaning the more you compress this or the more that you use it, you will start to lose thermal efficiency or lose some of that R value or heat retention. One last negative is its warmth to weight ratio. If you were to hold an ounce of synthetic to an ounce of down, you're gonna have better thermal efficiency or a higher R value out of down than you get out of synthetics. So let's talk about down now. Down, obviously natural material. It's really hard to compete with it in regards to man-made products. Down itself, super compressible. One of its biggest pros is definitely its compressibility, but also its warmth to weight ratio. Like I was just talking about with synthetics, nothing compares to it. So per ounce, you're gonna get more thermal efficiency out of down than you're gonna get out of a synthetic. Down's disadvantage, but I'll talk about its advantage in a little bit, is when it gets wet, it clumps. And down's value is its loft. As you can see, loft equates to warmth. So when down gets wet, it compresses and you lose those little air pockets or the ability for down to trap that warmth or that heat. However, down nowadays is hydrophobic, meaning it's treated with a water repellent or water resistant treatment that prevents it from holding moisture, which prevents it from clumping. It also increases its moisture rebound, meaning when it does get wet, it dries exponentially faster. So if it gets saturated, if you have to take a swim or fall out of a boat and your down gets totally soaked, hydrophobic down is gonna rebound much faster than standard down. So down is really caught up with synthetic in regards to its only negatives being its warmth when wet ratio. So kind of with all of that being said, it's really hard to compete with down unless you're price shopping, unless affordability is a variable. I would always choose down.